Hello everyone, welcome back to again my channel, and this is same series of beginner concept of C sharp. So in last session we have just covered this basic input output. So now we have to moving another concept which is exception handling. So let me create another new application of console application over there and just create a name of that application like part 9 in exception handling. Create that, create, and just remove everything. So before start implementation, we have to I have to tell you that what is that exception handling. Exception handling are used to handle error gracefully without crashing the programming. Okay, so this is a declaration, this is definitions. So let me try to understand as a practical example. So first I will try to I will show you like the concept of try and then catch and then finally. So these are the way to use that exception handle. So first I will use two variable. We'll just create a two variable over here, like one is total and then is a 0, right? And then what I can do, I will use another variable over here, integer result, and in this result, like whatever the total I want to divide to 0, right? So once I try to this guy, right, definitely I will get an error. And suppose let me run this application. So before that, select this guy and run this application. Now see, I'm getting one error. Now it is saying attempt to divide by 0 is exception, right? So I'm getting that exception, and also it is crash your application. So that actually avoiding using that try catch and finally or handling the exception in C sharp. So how we can handle that exception using this? So in this case, what I will do, which part if you think okay this part can be thrown exception, so I will use wrap this guy as a try. So use this syntax over there, like try. This is a try block and this is an exception block. So whatever execution our program, we will keep it in this try. So let me add try over there, right? And once you try over there and whatever exception over here, so this is actually main exception, right? So before that also we have a child exception, like whatever exact exception we have seen, right? So for example, as I see, like while running this application, I see one of that divide by 0 exception. So those also we can just declare over here. For example, divide by or just using divide. Yeah, see the divide by 0 exception, or you can just use this here as an exception. So you can see there's a many exceptions class over there. So those are, we can use it as a child exception, but at the end in this try catch we have to use that final exception over here. This is actually final exception. Suppose if I meet any exception, that will goes to over here first, like divide exception, right? Divide exception, divide 0 exception, and let me add like for example divide, right? And wrap it over here, and we can just simply create a console write line, or we can add a log and over here. So in real world example, actually we have to add. So if any exception over here, we can just add a log so that I can see in a log like okay what kind of exception we are getting over there, right? So similar we will just use over there. So whatever exception we trying to log it over here, like for example this guy. And in this divide exception, now see there's a couple of method over there. So in this D, now see it is a message, stack trace, inner exception, many things. So I will just put it over here as a message, so that it will tell you that what exact the error actually thrown in this code. So that will capture and show it in the output. and also it is a final exception, right? So we can just add it over here as well. Like suppose it is not match over here, so it's definitely unhandle exception, we will match it over here, it will show it over here. So let me add it over there. And then finally we are using as a finally block. So every code, like see, this is a execution, right? So if any execution, so it will got it over here and return back over here, but there is a called as a finally block that will always called the finally block in this execution. So that is called actually finally block, so that we can clean up any resource and all whatever we define, right? So those things we can do that. So let me just as of now for the example, I just using as a just code cleanup execution, right? In real world example, actually this final block we record, suppose I initialize that connection and all. So if I getting the connection, so whatever I initialize that connection and all, those should be close on clear that clear clean that resources. So that's why we are using that finally block. So let me use that finally block over here like this way, and let me breakpoint over here. Let me run this application and see in a practical example. And see, if you execute over here, now see this will execute. And let me debugging point over here and over here and over here as well. Okay, and once you F10, now see I'm getting 0 by exception, and it is reaching over here and it is done. And once you're done, now see it is not going to over here, because we are getting that accurate exception over here that we are handling over here, but it is going to finally block, because this is always execute after this. If I getting exception or non exception, always going to this final block. So this is the way our concept actually. So run this one, and once you run, now see this time your application not got crash, just whatever your logging message, it is logging and successfully execute your application, right? So this is actually way, and this is the beauty also, like using try catch and finally. So and if I talk about overall concept of that in a one line, in a short, so try executes the code that you may cause an error, right? So that this cause an error, that's why we are using in this try. And catch handle the error, like whatever the catch, we can handle the error. And finally ensure that some code runs no matter what, right? So this is that actually we always try to run, suppose it is exception or non-exception, both case, right? So like this way actually we can handle exception. This is the one of the concept. Now another concept over here for this handle exception, that is called throw keyword, right? So let me show it over here as a throw keyword. So in this throw keyword, what does mean throw keyword? So in this throw keyword, suppose whatever exception we are getting over here, right? So if I want to add a throw exception based on my exception, so that actually we can utilize. Like for example, let me create a method over here, static and void, and suppose validate age, right? So validate age, and in this validate age I'm just input as a age, input age, and in here I'll be checking over here if is age is suppose 18, right? So it is less than 18. So what I will do, not a if block actually, yeah, we can if block also, we can delete that. We can throw new exception over here, and we can pass, okay, age must be 18 or older, right? So if it is less than 18, so it will throw this exception. This is a forcefully I'm telling you, right? And what I will do, so I will just create again try catch again over here, and just put out some exception and just write it that exception message over here. And whatever that code I want to execute, I want to code execute this guy. So execution this guy, and suppose less than 17, right, or 17. So in this case definitely it will meet this condition and it will throw this condition, this error, right? Like this way also we can use it. And similar we can use, like suppose if I getting any exception over here, so I can throw as well over here, like okay, throw exception, whatever unhandled exception, so I can return back to exception as well, right? So let me run this guy. So this time definitely I should get this 17, means this age should be must, this guy. So run this guy, and okay, so let me put it debugging point here as well. So continue this guy, continue this guy, now continue this guy. Now see, I'm getting over here. Now once you reach this method, definitely it will call this guy, and see, I'm matching this condition, so it will throw this exception, continue this exception, and you will get, see, age must be 18 and older, right? And if I just change this guy to 19, definitely I should not get that exception. So run this application and continue this application, and if you see the output, now see, only execution till here, right? So this is the way uh, to uh, to achieve this, through exception and all, right? So this is actually complete concept of this beginner concept of C sharp. And in upcoming session we'll create those concept, like the whole concept. I will just create a whole concept and create a real world example, which is hotel management system. So till now, thank you, have a nice day, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.